sometimes they think they're professional and they get in and out. So that's dangerous. 5 levels of investor. This is a concept I came up with. But basically, you invest because you want to have enough money to live off of without doing anything else. That's the idea. So that's what I was doing before I did this. I sold my management company. I wasn't doing anything. I was happy. I moved to Miami. I was really happy, man. I had nothing to do. But after a while, you get a little restless. And then I just started writing something. And here we are on the stage and with you here. And it's funny how that worked out. But I always loved the topic, and it just sort of worked out that way. But as I said, if I wasn't here, I'd just be home looking at reading stuff. I'd be reading stocks, and I'd be investing. But I'm glad I'm here with you, and I'm glad you're here. Now, so that's the idea. But the first step is to know where you are. So the speculator gambler, I want you to think about this as we go through and think about where you are and where you've been. There's no shame in any of it. It's like they speculate on price movements. They play the casino, basically. They invest in what's hot. They're emotional. They feel bad when prices are down and euphoric when prices are up. They love the action, the movement. That's what juices them. They're always looking for the next big score. They're always looking for the big score. Like, this is my chance. The retail, level 2. They're usually a beginner stock and real estate investor. They have managed or a financial advisor, which is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. They're not really sure how to make decisions on their own, but they hope that their financial advisors making good decisions. They really hope their financial advisors yeah, that's fine. And what happens with retail, though, sometimes they hear about a hot thing and they want to give it a shot. That's why you need this stuff. Because if you're in that zone, you want to know when because I got one thing I can guarantee. I can't guarantee anything else, but I can guarantee you will be pitched lots of investment offerings throughout your life, or you'll hear things, and they'll be very enticing. And it's like, which is good and which is bad? So that's what we're doing here. That's retail. Level 3 is they're awakened. If you're here today, you might have already, if you were retail, decided to say, you know what, there's more to this game. I can't just be running around buying stuff. Peter Lynch had a favorite saying. He ran the Magellan Fund at Fidelity, had amazing returns for a period of time. And he said, people go and buy a refrigerator and they do research. They price shop, see which is the best model, and they buy it. People hear about a stock in their lunchroom at their job, and they throw 10 grand at it. They don't know what the hell it does. So people do this all day long. See, when you wake up, you say, you know what? It's not probably a good idea to be doing that, because more times than not, how many made money on a tip, a stock tip? You did? A couple people? How many lost money on a stock tip? A lot of people. Yeah. So don't take stock tips, I think, generally speaking. By the way, those who made money on stock tip, did you also lose on a few too? Do you know your net result of all the tips you took? Still up? Okay. Well, you did Palantir, Nancy. So Palantir, Nancy gets a lot of credit for that one. The professional, and you don't have to be professional, but the idea is like in terms of you do it every day and put on a jacket and tie. That's not what I'm saying. But they're more sophisticated. They might do multi-assets. They don't have to, though. A guy can be professional, just do real estate his whole life and make a ton of money. Nothing wrong with that. But they can really spot great opportunities. They know how to avoid the bad ones. They have a sense about it. They know how markets work. They know about cycles, and they're contrarian thinkers a lot of times. The master lives off their investment that they made, and they actually did it. And that's I think you get a perspective when you get to that level that you see these things differently. So that's the 5 levels. And the question for you, another quick exercise, is where are you? Where are you? Now, here's the funny one, speculator gambler. Sometimes they think they're professional. They're like, oh, I'm buying and selling. That's what professionals do. They buy and sell. And they get in and out. So that's dangerous, usually. Anyway, just real quick, write it down. We're doing an exercise. And then we'll see. Well, it shouldn't take you too long to write that down. Who wants to share where they are? And did they, like, is that like, because I think if you put that into context, who wants to share where they are? Go ahead, Hal. Everybody, it's Hal.
Woo! Vintage.
You want no, vintage T-shirts are later. Okay, go ahead.
I prefer to stand. No, sit down. No, I would say that I'm awakened. You know,
Yeah.
like I think that there's more to the game. I think that I've always bought what I heard someone was buying. I always kind of like want to look for the You know, I like the highs and lows. I mean, I've been a collector of classic cars, and I've always speculated, I'll buy this car. And I've shared a little bit about that in finance. I spent, I have a big collection, and it didn't really bring me a lot of money. But if I would have put that into the market and just looked at that, I'd probably have.
But did you
close to? I mean, 50 to 100, $50 to $75 million just in the collection that I had over the 30 years that I've been buying and selling cars.
But the way I look at collectibles, by the way, and this is the way I think you should look at them. I think I mentioned this because I collect guitars, old guitars, and some new stuff, and I love them. But I never thought I'm gonna make money with guitars. I just thought, I try to buy them at a good price, but I just enjoy them, like you enjoy the cars, and that's how I look at collectibles. And one or two of them went up a bunch, but it's just more. That's how I look at collectibles. But they could be profitable. But it's sort of like. There's a person in one of the groups, she's in the horse racing. She's like, she wants to make it a bit. Horse racing is tough business. It's tough business. Most people lose money. So it's like, know what game you're playing, right? So the cars but you enjoy them.
Yeah, for sure. And I would think since this past year, since I've been here, I've been learning the mindset. I don't know if I have the true confidence to actually, pull the trigger. I still have a financial planner. And it's interesting as I see we're moving money and some assets around right now, and we had this financial plan from the analyst says, we'll get you 7% every year, and it models out the plan and it looks great, but then we looked at another plan where we had some money, and it was at 11%. And then it kind of made me question, why am I even paying this, this analyst to give me this information? So I'd really wake up and just kind of start, be aware and awakened, because it really will make the difference. Because my wife didn't have any idea she was making 11.5% on an investment that she had for the last 7 years, and it was. And these guys came back and we're going to pull all this money and put it in ours. I'm like, hold on. So you gotta just wake up. That's all I can say.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead. Denise, how are you? Yes, please. And they're gonna mic. It's Denise, everybody.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you.
Very excited. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I would call myself 3.75 in the professional area.
Okay.
Since we're doing percents, right? In agricultural, real
Yes.
estate, and investments, I'm really strong in that. Farmland and other buildings. And I am probably a 2.98, almost to the awakening.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Give her a round. All right. So, how are you having a good time so far? Is this too much like thinking? Investing is basically a business where you think. And if you think well, you'll make a lot of money. If you think well. And all I'm trying to do really is just trying to think well, not have delusions, be realistic, and have a healthy dose of humility. You have to be humble with markets. Don't think you know everything, But you can get really good, and you get really good skills. But I'm always slightly unsure. And if you ever listen to great investors, they never tell you that. Buffett doesn't tell you where markets are going to go. He never tells you that. Buffett never says, markets are going up this year. He goes, I don't have the faintest clue. He's the best guy in the world. He has the faintest clue what markets are going to do this year. But he can make a decision about business, and he can, he'll be wrong too sometimes. But he can make a good judgment. When he's right, he makes a lot. And when he's wrong, he doesn't lose much, and that's the idea. All right, let's go on. You did that? By the way, you need a financial advisor. I'm not an advisor. I'm not going to opine on your portfolio. Everybody's in a different situation. You have different amounts of money. When do you need the money? These are important things you do with an advisor. Like, I'm talking about stuff here. I don't really even recommend you pick your own investments, but I know people want to do it. So if you're going to do it, you have to learn, and so you stay out of trouble and you get better results. And that's, disclosures and stuff. But I'm not a financial advisor. The reason I tell you that, it's not just a disclosure. It's really just, you should have an advisor who does a plan with you. How much money you have, how much income you're bringing in, how much can you invest every month, when do you need the money? Because these are an important thing, and every person here is going to be different. What's not going to be different is if you're picking investments, the ideas about businesses and stuff, that's universal, and you can learn that. Does that make sense?